Yeah, hey now. Good morning. PSW staff, clients, and friends joining us. Welcome to Wednesday's class. Yesterday we looked at Prokofiev, the very serious but melodic composer, uh, Russian composer. And the day before, your film scoring assignment for A Beautiful Mind. And those are already looking really good, so we'll see the results on Friday. So let's get right to work. I like to usually do a LA class just because we need to be aware of our surroundings and the history here. Albeit the history is 100, 200 years old as opposed to, let's say, Denmark, where it's thousands of years old. But still, it's history nonetheless. We're going to look at two important amphitheaters here in LA. And we're just going to take it real easy, real nice, have a good time, look at some ideas here, and then we'll call it a day. So if we have too much fun, let me know, and we can stop. Okay, just kidding. Today we're going to look at, first, let's go over and look at the Greek theater. Greek Theater's amphitheater, which is an outdoor theater, and that's in Griffith Park near John Pace's house. I won't give you the address though, but it's close by, and it stands as one of the nation's most beloved and recognized outdoor entertainment venues. See, we have very great venues here, and that a lot of that has to do with what I always talk about: climate and weather, right? I think people, when they started coming out here in the early 1900s, they realized, wow, with this weather, we can build outdoor theaters and not have to be snowed in or rained on, all that stuff. So, obviously, it was designed and modeled like after a Greek temple, which is why they called it the Greek. And Samuel Tilden Norton designed it, and it resembles the Greek spirit, and it holds about 6,000 people, and it goes back to about 1896. Okay, so it didn't open until 1931, but it goes back to a very eccentric person that we're gonna talk about. Two people. The first is a man. The second is a woman. We're not doing a man and a woman scoring though. Griffith J. Griffith. He's a colonel. It's funny. It's two names are the same, and they named Griffith Park after him. A Welsh guy that made a ton of money in mining, and bought 3,000 acres of land where Griffith Park is. We know it is Griffith Park, so it's named after him. And he had a lot of plans about where to build. He wanted to build an outdoor theater and all that stuff. The city didn't really accept it because he got into some trouble. He was a drinker, so he shot his wife. He didn't kill her though. But she lost her eye, so he went to prison for that, and it kind of tarnished his reputation a little bit. So they didn't really want to accept his money. Of course, they accepted it after he died. Except like his donation, so they accepted it then, and then after he died, and they started constructing the Greek theater, and it opened in 1931 with 4,000 patrons, and the seats were $1, so different prices back then. But when it opened, it wasn't used that much. It was used as a barracks in World War II. When Griffith died in 1919, he left a $1 million trust to LA. So, and he wanted to make sure that they build an observatory and a Greek theater. So, I mean, despite what his personal life is, he had great plans for our city, and it's cool to hear about how when rich people use their resources for culture and art, because that's what we're all about, as artists in this class. So it's always nice hearing that. But I mean, there's a renewed interest in the Greek theater. It's still open and still performing, people from Frank Sinatra to Elton John to Santana to Beck to Gypsy Kings to Marilyn Manson. So many people have performed there. I saw the group Chicago there, and that was really fun. And so now it's owned by the city of Los Angeles and managed by them. And it's a very cool just environment. Kind of reminds us of the Hollywood Bowl a little bit, right? Well, we're not going to do the bowl because we did the bowl a little bit, but let's go into the second part of what we're going to talk about. So let's. Are you still with me here? Let's go from the Greek, and we're going to go a little west here. We're going to go to the Ford Theater. Now and the Ford Theater is named after John Anson Ford. He was a big guy in the 70s. He was a journalist, an advertising person, but a real lifelong serving member of the LA County Board of Supervisors and did a lot for the arts. So that was named after him. But before then, we're going to talk about a woman. Now, here's another example of a female that has contributed so much to our city. Now, we looked at Dorothy Chandler and how she used her wealth and status to fundraise and to get money to build the Dorothy Chandler Music Center and all that wonderful culture downtown. So another woman came in and changed history right in that little, near the Cahuenga Valley. Christine Wetherill Stevenson. So she was heiress to the Pittsburgh Paint Company, which, of course, we all know about that company now, right? But her desire was, she had a ton of money, came out to LA, and she wanted to put plays on out in Los Angeles, in particular out in the Cahuenga Valley area. She's also responsible for, so it was called that section where the Hollywood Bowl and the Ford Theater, it's all kind of in that same hilly part, known as Daisy Dell. That's what it was called. And so she and her friends formed the Theater Arts Alliance. And she pretty much used her money to build a theater and to showcase her own play. So she had written this play called The Pilgrimage Play, and about the life and teachings of Jesus Christ. Well, her friends were not so sure about performing that at the Bowl, and so she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna build the theater right over here, and perform the play, which was a huge success. She really, used her money to promote her art, her playwriting, which was really cool. And it wasn't. She died though in 1922, and they put a glowing white cross there, and that cross is still there. It's gone through several, damaged, vandalized, all these things, but it's lit up. I don't know why we can't light up the Hollywood sign. I know I get into this and I get distracted sometimes because the cross is lit up beautifully, and there's been a lot of controversy over the years, over the century, kind of about, is that offensive? And there was a professor that said it was, it was fine, it was religious freedom. Anyway, you can see the cross very beautifully when you sit, if you go to the Bowl, and it's a white little cross, and it's in her memory, and it's beautiful. And so the Ford Theater was, before it was the Ford, it was built of wood, so it burned down in 1929. So they kind of, so in 1931, the theater was rebuilt and out of concrete. And so her family, Christine Stevenson's family, gave the theater to LA County. And they renamed it the Pilgrimage Theater. So, the play she wrote was The Pilgrimage Play, and she named the theater after the play, which is kind of funny. But they decided to name it the John Anson Ford Theater because he had worked so hard in the arts, in that, section of the arts in the 70s. And the Ford produces concerts, plays, Just like, the Hollywood Bowl will do not so much plays, but, I mean, it's kind of anything, symphonic music, rock music. But the Ford definitely does dramatic works too. And it's just cool, that little section, because whenever I'm there, I'm kind of confused about the layout and what theater is which. So I just kind of, to keep it simple, wanted to focus on two of the theaters, the Greek and the Ford, that are thankfully still there, and art is still being performed there. So just a little taste. I thought we'd do a little history there, and we did do it, so that's good. Okay, I got a good one for you tomorrow, but Griffith J. Griffith and Christine Stevenson, two people that had visions for LA, and the latter, a female that had money and a vision for art and culture in Los Angeles. So despite what they were like personally, very cool that they gave their time and money into things that we enjoy today. So, okay. I've said it all, probably too much, but love you. See you tomorrow.